Welcome back to the Music Bar Podcast, episode 30. And yes, we have a guest. How are you, Dan? And g'day, Cory. Welcome to our show.
Hello, Chris. Hi, Dan. Thanks for having me.
Oh, lovely to have you there, Cory. And it's great to have a guest on the show. And you're our first official guest. And if anyone can see him, Cory has long hair, which means he's a musician.
That's true.
A working musician, probably.
Yes, that comes about because we can't afford haircuts.
That's funny. So, yeah, for those who are listening and watching, I've known Cory since the 1990s. I think we were in a band together back then called Sarcasm. You were the drummer in my band back then when we started it. So, I've known you for a long time, but you've gone out and did your own thing ever since. You've been in a few bands ever since and actually recorded quite a bit and actually played, I think, the Arias, didn't you, once?
Actually, that was the MTV Awards. The MTV Awards one year. We did attend the Arias, but that was just to drink and eat food and watch.
Yeah. So you've been in a band called Big Wally back then, which you wrote and recorded everything, and you toured us the East Coast, I believe. I saw you at the university playing there with Big Wally. Then you started a band or joined a band called Dukes of Windsor, which you had a couple of hits with. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Big Wally spent a couple of years on the uni circuit, touring up and down the East Coast and across to Adelaide. That was a good time. And I'm sure.
And now you're in a band called Over-Reactor with a fellow called Ezekiel Ox, and it's only two-piece.
Yes, we sort of did that after just to make it easier to tour and also less people to make decisions as well. We're both and control freaks. So that's right. So
with Overreactor, you play drums and Ezekiel sings, so everything else is recorded.
Yeah, so I would record all the instrumental parts in the studio, so drums, bass, keyboards, guitar, and then Ezekiel would sing. Yeah, and would put it all together. Sort of produce it together as well.
Yeah, and I never actually saw you live, but I did hear that you had a bunch of TVs on stage and smashed them. Is that correct?
It was during the time when everyone was crossing over to the flat screen TVs. So all the big boxy ones, people would just leave on the street. So we'd just rock up to a show in Brisbane or wherever we were and pick up a TV off the side of the road, plug it in, run our visuals through it, and smash it at the end of the show.
That's so Motley Cruish.
I can't believe I missed seeing you guys. Can't believe I haven't seen you guys.
That's so funny. Free TVs to smash. Why not?
We did get banned from one bar in Adelaide. They didn't want us back because we smashed the TV and then the crowd got into it. They were picking up the broken TV and throwing it on the floor and there was just bits of broken glass everywhere.
That's so funny. That's so funny. But one of the reasons we wanted you on, Cory, is because Dan and I have been, this is our 30th episode. We've done a few already talking about great musicians and we've talked about the passing of a lot of drummers that have passed away in the last couple of months. We wanted to get a drummer's point of view on what makes a drummer great, because we talk about Charlie Watts, we talk about Taylor Hawkins and Jory Jordison and people like that. But we also hear, like I'm a Metallica fan, as you know. Lars has been put down by the crowd for so many years, saying he's not a very good drummer, but yet he is in Metallica writing some of the best music out. So just a little bit of a background for people who are at home and watching. Who were your influences when you first started and why? And then who have you gone to now who you like that you didn't think you'd like later on, who've kind of changed your way of playing?
Yeah, okay. So if I start with some of my favourites, even talking about Lars, he'd definitely be in probably my top three.
Yep.
And he is criticised a lot. I don't think he's the most technically amazing drummer in the way of how consistent his playing is and how fast he is. Yeah, comes across as maybe didn't practice quite as hard as some of the other metal drummers who are a lot technically together. But in the way of musicality, he's brilliant. He's totally unique. I think that's one of the big things that sets drummers apart is
Yep.
He's really got his own thing going on. You could hear a Metallica drum track without the guitars or the bass there, and you'd know exactly who was playing the drums. It's so recognizable. And yeah, his musical ideas on the drum kit are amazing, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know when you first joined us back in Sarcasm days, back in the 90s, you were a huge Motley Crue fan. So is still Tommy Lee someone that you look up to, or you think he's still one of the greatest?
Yeah, Tommy Lee is the reason I took up drums.
Yep.
When I got a cassette and dubbed a version from a friend of Theatre of Pain and Girls, Girls, Girls.
Yep.
And yeah, I was just blown away by the drumming sound and quickly moved on from recorder to drum kit.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, so
Tommy's drums though, aren't Tommy's bass drums bigger than most bass drums?
Yeah, he plays with a 26-inch bass, which is a lot bigger than most, and even his tom sizes are a lot bigger.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's just everything. That's part of his sound, I think. And a big reason for the Black Album production as well, because Metallica apparently heard the Dr. Feelgood album that Bob Rock produced, and
got Bob Rock across.
Oh, that's right.
You have a question, Dan?
I was going to say, I've always found with Tommy Lee is that when you talk about drummers, and I've been seeing heavy metal shows and watching drummers and drum solos, and you see and hear drummers going as fast as humanly possible to play something. But I always found Tommy never felt the need to do that. When you watch Tommy do his solo, even when he's on the big Crucify or whatever rig he's got going on, he's playing along to a track, and he's not trying to show you how fast he is or how technical he is. He's just trying to show you that he's just having some damn fun playing the drums. And I think that's what sets him apart from a lot of the others.
Yeah, I agree. I went and saw them live once when they did the drum roller coaster. And yeah, he's such a great showman with the spinning the sticks, and while he doesn't make a mistake while doing all those tricks either. So
no, that's true. Yes, it's true.
Very impressive.
Did you see that video? I was going to say, did you see that video that's just been Tommy Lee actually posted it on his Facebook and Instagram recently of Taylor Hawkins doing the twirl?
I saw
and
that.
Saying, I was supposed to be in that commercial, but they got Tommy Lee to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm the best one at this, not Tommy Lee. I'm the best one at this.
Yeah, I saw that. It was funny.
Yeah.
So when we discussed this in the past, Cory, we were just talking about people like John Bonham and then people like Charlie Watts. They kind of, some people say that the drummers play behind the beat. They're a loose player. They do these things that I, as a guitar player, and Dan, not really sure 100% how that works for the rest of the band. But then they get people who are playing rhythm, like the bass, locking into these guys. So does that mean that the bass player is also playing slightly behind? So what's your take on that?
Yeah, the bass player the drummer can play behind the beat or even in front of the beat at times. But playing behind the beat just makes it groove a bit more a lot of the time. And you could have the guitarist playing right on the beat. But you're right. The bass player would normally lock in with where the drummer is with the timing, because that needs to lock in with the bass drum. And you can even do things like that. The bass drum might be on the beat, but you can put the snare behind the beat.
Oh, right.
You can put the cymbals behind the beat with your other hand. So, yeah, you can.
So, as a musician in that band, you need to know what's going on with that drummer. And I guess people like Eddie Van Halen and Alex, who grew up together, and then you get someone like Vinnie Paul and Dimebag who grew up together. They'll understand that in each other's playing, but then joining a band who you don't know will take a bit of time to get that feel, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. That's why often brothers who are in the same band together just really lock in together because they've been playing their whole lives. Yeah, from kids.
Is it something they try to do, or is it something accidentally that's how they play?
Yeah, they probably don't think about where they're actually playing on the beat. They just would play so much together that it's unspoken. They just lock in.
Yep. And is it hard to record when they're off the beat, or is it just press play and record and go for it?
Yeah, I think usually when you record, you've rehearsed a million times, so you don't really need to think about it as long as you can hear clearly in your headphones.
Yeah, no, fair enough. What were you thinking of? What did you think when people like Charlie Watts or those guys passed away recently? Was it something that hit home to you, or you were a big fan, or not? Or
yeah, I love the Rolling Stones stuff, so that was a bit sad. He's definitely a pioneering drummer, Charlie Watts. And Taylor Hawkins was a big shock. I think Charlie Watts, he was older, so you expect those people to go eventually. I can't believe Keith Richards is still here, but
I don't think even Keith can. I think Keith wakes up every morning and goes, "Shit, I'm still here."
Yeah.
But Taylor Hawkins was a big shock. He's not far off my age, so when that makes you kind of think about mortality and all those kind of things. And also, I'm a Foo Fighters fan, so
yeah,
that was it. Yeah,
and Dave Grohl would be one of your favorite guitar drummers, wouldn't he?
Oh yeah, he's definitely in my top. My top whatever
5, 10.
I've said to Chris, I mean, we're just going on Taylor Hawkins here, that when I look at what drugs were in Taylor Hawkins' system, a lot of painkillers and opioids and stuff like that. And I said to Chris, I think he was living with pain. Is drumming that hard on the body? Because like I've seen Tommy Lee post photos of him with his ankles are just steel and pins now. And Phil Collins can't barely walk now because, he can't hold a set of drumsticks or anything anymore. Is it really that hard on the body?
That will probably depend on what style you're playing. I think like if you're maybe a soul or drummer or jazz or something like that takes a little bit less effort, it wouldn't probably take its toll on your body quite as much. But playing heavy rock and metal, where you're really laying into those drums with a high velocity for many years, that could definitely take its toll. I know that the drummer from Refuse, I know that he had wrist problems early in his career and ended up giving up drums. But now he's back playing the drums again, so he must have had years off and recovered. But, I definitely
think
know
someone like Vinnie
firsthand.
Paul would have issues, wouldn't he, if he was still around?
Oh yeah,
him and his double kick was phenomenal, but it must do damage.
Yeah, it depends on your technique as well. Some drummers have certain way of playing that might hurt their body more than others.
Yep.
Yeah, I know myself. I've developed a wrist problem before from playing drums, and it ended up getting lessons again and getting a teacher to help me change my technique so that it didn't hurt anymore.
And that worked?
Yeah. That was like 15 years ago, and it's a lot better now. I've still got some bit of wear and tear there, but it's it doesn't really cause me a lot of pain anymore. I don't get out the ice after a show and like I was doing 15 years ago. Yeah.
Are you still learning? I mean, do you ever stop learning with a musical instrument? I mean, what's your take on that?
No, definitely not. I think the older I get, the more I realize I don't know. Whereas, maybe in my early 20s, I thought I knew almost all of it. So, I find you kind of lose a little bit of confidence as you get older as well, because you just realize that there is so much more to learn. So, I just keep chipping away and trying to learn more.
Because you're currently teaching rock, is that correct? Like drums and everything?
Yeah, I teach drums and piano and guitar.
And you live on the Coffs Harbour, don't you? Coffs Harbour?
Yeah, a town called Urunga, which is about 40 k's south of Coffs Harbour.
Oh, okay. Wow, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
And a quick shout out for your school. Is it called Rock Start?
Yeah, my music business, teaching business, is called Rock Start. Yeah, with a T.
Rock Start. That's good, clever.
Yeah.
That's good.
So talking back,
Sorry.
Dan, you go.
I look, I just want to musically for you. So you say you teach piano. So did you start with any other instruments? Did you progress from drums? Was drums the first love? Did you move on from that? How did you progress on from when you first started?
Yeah, I started on drums, and then I really wanted to write songs, and you can't do that with just a drum kit. So I started playing guitar and just picking up tips from guitarists I played in bands with. Then from there, bass guitar, and piano was probably the most recent instrument. So yeah, I've learned quite a few different instruments. I think I'd be a technically better drummer if I didn't spend so many hours on other instruments, but it's kind of it's a bit of a trade-off you have to make. There are only so many hours in a day you can practice.
Yep.
Drums are still definitely my first instrument, though. I'm far better on drums than
I remember the first drum kit you brought to the audition when we auditioned you, and it kept breaking and falling over.
And they said, he's our guy. He's our guy.
And we're like, he's great. He smashes his stuff while he plays it.
Yeah, I can't remember if that was because I was smashing it or because you were jumping into it.
Oh, I can't remember.
That was
That's when you called
Chris
him
is
Dad
a very
and
tall
father.
and big guy.
So is Cory. Cory's taller than I am.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, the tall, skinny drummer, Tommy Lee. The tall, skinny drummers.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, him and Taylor Hawkins. Hey, Cory, is there anything you listen to now? Like, we all talk about all the bands that we like, from back in the day. I'm one of those people that I'm always looking for new music. Is there anything you hear now that makes you just kind of go, whoa, what's that guy doing? Even if it's an older drummer and they do something, you kind of go, wow, where did that come from? How did they do that? Where did they think of that one?
Yeah, I'd have to say one of my most recent additions would be Car Bomb. Don't know if you've heard them. They're an extreme metal band from the States.
Oh,
and, yeah. I listened to the occasional extreme metal band, but not a whole heap. But this particular band's just their recent 2 albums. If you check those 2 out, the drumming is incredible, and the whole band. They're making sounds that I've never heard before.
Wow.
It's good though.
Yeah.
I'll check them out. Car Bomb. I'm always looking for something new, so I'll check them out.
I love new music.
Yeah, check them out.
Who do you reckon the greatest rhythm sections are with bass and guitar, drums locking in?
It depends on the style. I guess I immediately thought of Vinnie Paul and Dimebag from Pantera.
Yep.
Our rhythm section, you were saying, so that'd include Rex as well.
Yep.
They're quite amazing.
Yep.
Who else? Maybe Les Claypool and Tim Herb Alexander. I love what they do together from Primus.
Yeah, that was a good release. We'll talk about that before, actually, Dan and I. They've got a new EP out now. Have you heard that yet?
Yeah, I've heard the first song from the EP.
You like it?
Yeah, I do. I think I need to listen to it again. But,
it's 11 minutes
a bit
long
to digest. Yeah. Have they released the B-sides yet?
No, it's going. I think
I'm not
EP
sure
of
yet.
3 songs.
Yeah.
It is a Friday though. It's when the new stuff comes out, so I've probably got to check my release radar and check what's happening.
Yeah.
I've got to admit, when Chris first told me about you, all of a sudden my brain is just gone because I'm old. Your name of your band again? Just give it a plug. Give it a plug.
Yeah, Overreactor.
Right, Over-Reactor. Okay. Now, I'm going to bring out a warning here because this is what happens when you go onto Spotify and Chris says, listen to this band, my mate. It's a singer and a drummer. They're awesome. They're called Over-Reactor. You get on Spotify, check out a band called Over-Reactor, and it's all these Collingwood Magpies songs. And I thought, that can't be Chris' band. Well, this is what Spotify does. You put that in, you like a band, and then someone else has got the same name, and you're going, this is not the band I like. So got to tell people.
It is actually them.
Is that really?
That is us. So
look at the
what
Collingwood
happened?
Magpie songs. You didn't tell me that, Chris.
It's all part of the. Tell us a story, Cory. Tell us a story about the Collingwood song.
All right. So we've done a few albums of fairly hardcore material with some electronic and hip hop thrown in as well. But we're both lovers of AFL football, and I'd written this song about the how the team Collingwood always choke in finals. And so we recorded it and released it, and then it went viral, and it's now actually our biggest song. So
I couldn't, because Chris was telling me about you guys and the sound you got. And when I heard this, I'm like, oh, it's another one of those bloody different bands on, but it is you, because that song's hilarious. Yeah. And I noticed it's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a Collingwood supporter, and I think it's funny because I agree.
Yeah, so it turned a few of our fans off. But we're like, we don't make any money from this band, so we'll do whatever we like.
Yep, that's the way. That's the way. And you said the other night you have a new song, is that correct?
We actually, last year we did another football song. That it was like, we haven't done one for years. We're known most for this song. Why don't we do a follow-up? So we just had a bit of fun.
What's that called?
Yeah, so we've actually done 3 now. There's one called Rugby League is Crap.
No, that's it. I'm out of here.
Oh, now you're making me angry. I love rugby league. That's all I watch.
Oh.
So sorry about that to all you rugby league fans, but it was just a bit of tongue-in-cheek fun.
Yeah.
Have a listen to it. It talks about some statistics.
I can't wait. I'm going to listen all when we're done. I can't wait.
And the other one is the Ballad of Toby Green, which is just about an AFL footballer who likes to play dirty and punch people and push over umpires and stuff. So we made a funny song about him as well.
What team does he play for?
Yeah. What was that?
What team does that Toby Green play for?
GWS.
Right, okay.
Yes, he's the one who had the. Anyway, you see, this crossovers very nicely for me because I work in sports radio. So, this all crosses over very well for me. Music and sport, you cover it all.
And just one last thing about the rugby league song. We only ever played it live once, and someone threw a glass at us and it smashed on the wall behind us on the stage. So we chose never to perform it live again.
Where did you play it at?
It was actually in Melbourne. We thought that was a safe place.
That's funny
to do it.
I was going to say, if you played that at Coffs Harbour, you'd have more glasses thrown at you.
Yeah, we wouldn't dare. So we haven't made a video clip for that because we had an idea of going to the State of Origin when it was in Melbourne and doing a video clip for it outside the ground, the same way we did with the Collingwood song. But we figured that we would probably die if we did that.
Yeah, so. That's a death wish, man. That's a death wish. You've toured Australia. You've been in bands that have had have hits. What do you think of the Australian music scene currently? I know COVID's affected a lot of touring, but do you listen to a lot of Australian music or new bands from Australia?
I think my favourite new band would be The Chats, the punk band from Brisbane. I really enjoy a lot of their music. They're probably the only new band I've picked up recently. I'm into a lot of older bands, due to my heritage, like Spiderbait and Custard and Regurgitator and all those types of bands.
Did you tour in those earlier days? Did you tour with any of those bands? Did
supports with Regurgitator, Living Ends,
Yep.
Spider Baits, yeah.
Oh wow, nice.
Body
What was
Jar,
Tour Life like?
all sorts. Tour Life, yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's really hard financially because unless you're really successful, there's not a lot of money coming in all the time. But it's just the had a lot of fun just getting on a bus and driving up and down the east coast of Australia and playing shows and there's the Dukes of Windsor period. That was it was over so quickly. We went up and we were doing TV performances and red carpet at the arias and all this crazy stuff. And it was all nerve-wracking, the TV performances and being on the red carpet was a bit surreal.
And you recorded that Dukes of Windsor album overseas, so in Scandinavia, didn't you?
Yeah, that was an old mental asylum in the north of Sweden.
So why there?
That was where the producers had their studio. They mixed our first album. We got in touch with them because they produced. It was Pele and Eskel, the producing duo, who did The Shape of Punk to Come by Refuse.
Right.
So cool.
So our manager said to us, "Who would you most like to produce you?" And we mentioned those guys, and he was like, "All right, I'll get in touch with them." And so off we went. Spent 2 months in the darkness.
So you've got some boys you were in Melbourne at the time, I'm presuming. So Melbourne over to Sweden. Bit of a wake-up call. Would have been cold and snowy, I guess. Yeah,
we looked ridiculous. We all bought these big puffer ski jackets to keep us warm, and we're walking around like marshmallow men. And we noticed that all the locals just wear layers, kind of like they do in Sydney or Melbourne.
That's funny. And whose idea was it to do that video clip with Dukes of Windsor where you do all the movie titles or scenes? Pardon?
I think that was the guitarist Oscar, and his brother was sort of responsible for the video production.
Right.
And
it's a very clever clip.
Yeah, it is. It took a
one
lot of
take,
rehearsal.
isn't it?
Yeah, one take. So we spent 2 days rehearsing.
Wow.
And then did a few takes of it was very hard to get it right because everyone had to get their part right.
Yep.
Scott and I only got the Dirty Dancing lift right twice.
Oh, really?
I know that's not an easy thing to do.
No.
It even with I've seen guys do it with a tiny little girl and it's not easy to do.
Well, you lifted, Scott, didn't you?
Yeah, you both have to time it really well. So
yeah. What was the song called for that video clip?
That was Runaway.
Runaway by the Dukes of Windsor. Because I just find that whole video clip so funny to watch, especially the Titanic scene. Because you were in it.
I have to watch.
How many?
So much I don't know. I don't know.
How many clips? How many titles are in that song?
Good question. 15 or something? Or
15
20?
different movie scenes. Yeah.
And
the breaking.
There's the what's it called? The Sharon Stone one at the end.
Which one?
And there's a right at the very end. There's what's the Sharon Stone one where I've forgotten the name of the movie now. Basic Instinct, yes.
And there's a Brokeback Mountain one.
Yeah.
It's really funny. Go watch that, everybody. Hit the like button on that one for sure.
There's a pixelated version. I don't know which version for the Basic Instinct scene is on YouTube, but
really?
Just be wary of that at the end there.
And what's the future of Overreactor going to be?
We haven't really all we did. Our original philosophy was, bands always break up. Look, why do we need to break up? There's only two of us. We can just stop working on it for a while, pursue other projects, and then we'll come back to it when we're ready.
Yep.
So, it's basically we got together, did that one song and video last year, and it was good to catch up again. And we haven't actually discussed when we'll do the next album, but we better get cracking on it at some point because it's already been 5 years since the last one.
And what was the last one's called?
The last one, I've blanked on the name. What was it called?
What was the ones titled very similar to the Guns N' Roses albums?
Oh, that was Lose Your Delusion 1 and 2.
That's funny. I still find that amusing.
Yeah, we thought it was a funny idea until we realised that Tism had put out a song before we did that called "Lose Your Delusion."
All right.
They did too. They did too.
Dan's a huge Kiss fan.
We didn't deliberately rip them off, but someone else had already done that joke.
I think you missed him, Chris. He didn't say Kiss. He said Tism.
Tism.
Yeah,
sorry.
Tism.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chris loves Tism too. So yes.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yes, I do remember that. Yeah.
That's good. Who are your last influences as a drummer? The newest ones, apart from the band you said before. Have you gone back to anyone earlier than our generation, back to the 70s, like the Bonham or those guys? Do you ever listen to those now, or is that something you don't go back to very often?
I listen to a lot of Led Zeppelin these days. I love John Bonham.
Yep.
Stevie Wonder, but I love Stevie Wonder's drumming.
Yep.
He did the drumming for a lot of his 70s stuff. Who else? Carlton Barrett from Bob Marley and the Wailers.
Okay, that's interesting.
Love his drumming. Even Brendan Canty from Fugazi. I actually saw Fugazi when I was, I think, 18 or 19, and he took the time after the show to hang out and chat with me for about half an hour, which really inspired me.
That's the cool thing about punk, man. It's that association with the audience. You're literally one step away from being an audience member to being a member of a band.
Yeah,
and I think it's always been the really cool thing about punk. I remember hearing a story about I can't remember someone was in a punk band in Melbourne, and being a punk, you're doing your own gear, you're putting your own gear away. And Trey Cool from Green Day was in the audience and came up, started talking to the guys, telling them how much he liked them. And the drummer said, "Yeah, great, mate. Can you help us pack the van?" And Trey Cool did. He helped them pack up the instruments and pack the van, because deep down, he's still a punk.
Yeah.
Deep down. I just got a question to ask. Sorry?
I was just going to say, Paul was seen from the Screaming Jets once helped us load out in Newcastle.
Very nice.
Couldn't believe that. He said, I remember what it was like having to, without any help. So, yeah, it was great.
That's great. That's great to hear things like that. I just got a question for you. As a drummer, did you see the movie Whiplash?
Yes, I did.
What were your thoughts on that? Because to me, it's one of the most incredible films I've ever seen. And you who's played drums, what was your take on that movie?
I thought it was a really good movie, but the reality of playing drums till your hands bleed, that's not really realistic. If you learn good technique, your hands don't bleed. So I think that was just to add to the dramatic effect. So
yeah. But that last 15 minutes of that film is pretty damn spectacular.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
I'd love to revisit it, but I did think that was a really good movie at the time.
Cool. We have to wrap up now. It's time to end. Unfortunately, but quick thank you to Cory. Thank you for coming on and being our very first guest for episode 30. So really appreciate that. And not saying it won't happen again, because it's been a very interesting conversation and listening to other people's opinions on music and thoughts and influences. So down the track, we might have you on again if you don't mind. It's good having someone who's been there, done it, so to speak, on our show. So thanks again. And we'll have to go off. We won't do cool thing because we're running out of time too much. So sorry.
Cool thing was talking to Cory.
Sorry, Dan. No cool thing this week. But thank you very much. So any plugs for yourself? Just quickly plug yourself, Cory, if you any websites or anything.
Plug myself. Feel free to check out Overreactor's non-football songs on Spotify. If you go to our top songs and go to the fourth top song, you'll start on our real stuff.
Yep.
Right.
That's funny.
But all of our top 3 songs are our novelty ones. It's crazy.
Better than none. If it brings people over to you, so yeah.
Yeah,
better
that's
than
true.
none. It's been a pleasure, Cory, talking to you.
Thanks, Cory.
Yes, same with you,
We'll sign
Dan.
off, and thank you everybody watching. Subscribe and like, and spread the word. Thank you very much, everybody. See you later.
See ya.
See ya.